Hello everybody, this is Katja Eckhart. I'm wishing you a good evening and welcome to another a YouTube video from me. Tonight I'd like to talk about new wave music a little bit more. In particular, I'm in a Blondie mood. You can tell from my outfit that I'm inspired this evening a little bit at least by Deborah Harry. So I want to talk about the influence of that band on me when I was listening to new wave music for the first time a little bit. I'd like to say a little bit about Deborah Harry's fashion sense, which has certainly influenced me, and then I'll close by saying a couple of things about some new clothing that I'd like to acquire in the near future. So let me begin with the new wave aspect of it, and talking especially about Blondie, which is one of my favorite bands from that time. So I first became aware of new wave music when sort of from the very heavily synthesized version of that. So there were artists in the mid and late 70s, especially like Kraftwerk, who were primarily synthesizer driven. So it was very electronic music, it was very cerebral music. So I was interested in that, and some of it I really loved, for example, Gary Numan's record Cars, which I think was in 1979 or 1980. But one of the things that I missed in some of that music was the guitar. You know, I like to listen to guitar. I think that, to me, I wouldn't want to see that completely drop out of new wave music. And so when I heard groups like Blondie, for example, where there was this marriage of the synthesized aspect. So, for example, Giorgio Moroder, who was the producer of Parallel Lines, one of Blondie's most successful albums, I think that was in 1979, he brought that kind of electronic sound into their music, or in his production of their music at least. But then you also had Chris Stein with the guitar work and some of the excellent drumming. I'm sorry, I don't know all the members' names, but there was also kind of an edginess to it with the guitar, the rhythm guitar, the lead guitar, and also the bass and the drums. And so in some of those early songs from Blondie, from Parallel Lines and also Eat to the Beat, so things like, Sunday Girl or Dreaming, another one would be One Way or Another. Those songs they're really brisk, exciting numbers, which to me were very interesting. So I like that combination of both the synthesized electronic element and also the guitar, the edge that they brought to it, which really, I really enjoyed that when I was growing up and listening to it. I really think their career took off with Parallel Lines. So you had Heart of Glass, which has that kind of electronic sound that Giorgio Moroder brought into production. But you also had the other side going on in that album too. So I really thought that was a really happy marriage of those two different styles coming together. And then in Alto American, where you have them experimenting with The Tide is High, that's a calypso song that had been recorded before, but they do a pretty good job with that. Of course, Rapture is one of the first mainstream rap songs, if you will. I really thought that music was very interesting. It was exciting, but it was also fun. It was fun to dance to, and so that made it both entertaining, but also different. Then later, of course, I think by the time you get to The Hunter, and their later albums are not as successful, they'd sort of reached their high water mark, and their career was basically waning. But Deborah Harry herself, let me talk a little bit about her, because she is really, in my cross-dressing especially, she's one of my role models. And the reason that is first of all, I think that she was a very attractive, and still is a very attractive woman, especially though in the late 70s and the early 80s. She had that very slim figure, and she knew how to wear a new age style clothing to accentuate that. So she really was very, very attractive and very sexy in her own way. She found a way to express her femininity and her sexuality through her clothing, through her style. So to me, as a cross-dresser, that was very interesting, because it helps me when I'm trying to select an outfit, or when I'm buying new clothes or thinking about new things to wear, Deborah Harry was a role model for me in terms of fashion, because it taught me that one way to do this is to sort of find a style that you really relate to. So whether it be new wave clothing, or maybe some people like sort of hippie chic, or whatever it is, you can choose that for yourself as a cross-dresser. But I think it's really good to find a style, and then that can sort of act like the rudder on a ship to steer you through various stores, boutiques, used clothing stores, upscale shops, however you like to shop. But when you're looking for things, new things to wear, sometimes it can be very overwhelming because there's so many different kinds of clothes out there, and most of us don't have that much experience with that, at least not in the way that your average cisgen woman would have. She's been experimenting and buying clothes for a long time, and so she has a better sense of what's out there. She has more experience. So for those of us who are coming at it sort of from not that standpoint, but from a more recent, we haven't been doing it that long, it does help to have a definite style or fashion mode that you relate to, and then you can see things that sort of fit into that or that don't. And when new clothes come out, it's interesting to keep in the back of your mind, well, what is my style, or what is the kind of persona that I want to project, especially as a cross-dresser, and then you can see how that will help you weed out certain things that don't really fit into that, and other things that do, and then you also want to think about what fits your figure, what fits your body as best. So those are some things that I learned from Debbie Harry, especially in watching her when I was growing up, and modeling her kind of fashion sense and trying to bring it into my own experience in my own way. Now, finally tonight, what I'd like to do is say just a little bit about a couple of things that I hope to acquire soon. I would like to purchase a one-piece bathing suit, maybe with a little bit of a retro or new wave feel to it. So I'd like to find one that would fit my figure pretty well. So I'm going to be looking for one of those. I'm not in any hurry. I'm just going to be looking for that. So that's one thing that I'd like to find. And then another thing I'd really like to find is almost like a tube skirt, a really short skirt, but it's also a one-piece. It may be off the shoulders, for example, and so sort of nice and tight in here, so that I could, it would be almost like a cocktail dress. It's not really a cocktail dress, it's just kind of a one-piece sleeve almost that would go from shoulder length to very short skirt, almost like a mini tube skirt or something like that. So those are just a couple of things that I will be looking for in the next few days and weeks. Again, I'm not in any hurry. Part of the fun is just to look and see what you can find, and sometimes you'll be surprised. This outfit was a pleasant surprise that I found in Loft, which is a store that I had not known about before, but I was very happy finding this. I didn't expect to, and so it fits me very well. And then also that yellow jumper that I wore a couple of videos ago that I found in Portland, that was a very nice surprise from the sort of Manhattan boutique store whose name I can't remember, but you can look back at that video to see. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about tonight, and I just wanted you to hopefully share a Blondie moment with me. I hope everybody has a good night, and I look forward to talking to you all again real soon. So once again, this is Katja Eckhart, wishing all of you a very safe and peaceful and restful good night. Bye-bye.